我操 ，Hello 啊，外网的亲朋好友们。Today I'm going to teach you what I consider to be the precursor and indeed the traditional version of your sweet and sour pork. Well, first of all, anything that red without an explanation is kind of gross to look at. But the flavors are immediately familiar to any northeastern boy via a very traditional dish that we call 锅包肉. Guo bao rou is one of those rare dishes in modern China that actually has a relatively clear history. The closest thing we have to a modern gourmand, our escoffier, if you will, a man by the name of Zhen Xingwen, bagged himself a white girl. And his Russian wife didn't like traditional northeastern food. She liked kind of sour vinegar vibe, which is why he decided to make a deep-fried pork loin, sliced thin and battered, gently coated with a vinegar and sugar-based sauce/dressing, and hence was born the guo bao rou. Here I have thinly sliced pork tenderloin. By thinly, I mean a roughly 2 to 3 millimeters, or 1/8 of an inch is what you want. Any thinner than that, and you will risk the pork breaking the fuck apart once you go to zhua or molest it into the batter. We have this thing called zhua or lu. It means to grab, which I then translate into molest. So molest your meat through a mixture of potato starch, salt, MSG, and water. You want to mix about as much water into the starch, just enough to make it a non-Newtonian fluid, which means solid when you touch it and not solid when you don't. Inside the non-Newtonian fluid goes my pork. Ah! No. Generally speaking, you have a much wider walk and you can move a lot faster because there's not 2 or 3 people holding a camera waiting to get your shots. When you deal with high heat applications like this and wet batter, there's always a chance. But what happens is the batter is crispening on the outside, creating a seal, and the inside of the batter is still quite moist, so it blows its seal, ends up hitting you. But these are the sacrifices one makes for good flavors and traditionally. And you want it to be as crispy as it can possibly get without getting color. Traditionally speaking, you would want these to be nice and flat, but I didn't have a really big pork tenderloin to work with, so they kind of curled up a bit, but that's fine. I am not a cook in the royal palace. Now is time for the traditional northern technique of going through all that trouble to make something crispy and then uncrispening it in a sauce. Turn that back on a medium-low heat slowly. Wait till the smoke comes up a little bit, and in goes a mixture of sugar, vinegar, and water. Now here's where it gets a little fun. As the acidity reduces and the liquids evaporate, you'll smell that the vinegar is starting to not be If that's what happens, keep on reducing. The moment that stops, you've reduced it enough. What you can then do is go in with your slurry of starch to thicken the sauce a little bit. And now you have an acidic, sweet sort of sauce. In this sauce goes my pork and my ginger and Chinese leek white. Coat everything in sauce, and you have essentially guo bao rou. Guo bao rou in a restaurant in the north, at least, is kind of like the equivalent of going to a Texas smokehouse, and whether or not you like brisket, you're going to order it anyways. Because you're here, I should have brisket, right? But it's not that good. At least the traditional version is much drier than this, and that's why I don't like it. It's like a syrup wrapped around a pork. I like it with a little bit more sauce to it, and a lot more ginger and leek. But that's just the white boy in me, the Westerner, the 假洋鬼子 in me. So next we're going to make traditional American sweet and sour pork. Is supposed to have been influenced by generally Southerners. There's a big contention between whether it was the Jiangsuanese or the Fujianese or the Hong Kongese or the Cantonese. When you ask anyone in the world to close their eyes and imagine a Chinese person, that image of that's a fuck one of those 3, because they're the ones who f***ed off the most. So those 3 people carried their foods across the world. American sweet and sour pork is largely and heavily seasoned with ketchup and Worcestershire sauce, which suggests that this dish most likely would have come from Canton because of its English influences. So this is a very difficult story to tell. largely speaking, it doesn't fucking matter. Let's get back to cooking. Here we have the collar of pork, 猪领肉, or I guess you would call upper neck-ish, and some pork belly, chopped into chunks, marinated with chicken juice. You can use chicken bouillon powder if you want, light soy, oyster sauce, 1 egg, and more potato starch to create the wet batter. In here, I have decorations. I have plant-based decorations because realistically, when somebody orders sweet and sour pork, they're not ordering it for the vegetables. Then here, I have a mixture of sugar, ketchup with Worcestershire sauce, which is going to create my jizzy red coating. And here I have the westernized Chinese restaurant flavor bomb secret, which is rehydrated, dehydrated garlic. So take granulated garlic or garlic powder, depending on where you're from, hit it with water till you have a paste, and you have the flavor of Chinese restaurants in the West. With咕咾锅包肉, I fried it in fresh oil, overheated. With this, if you want that real American flavor, you want to fry it in dirty oil, slightly underheated. Come with me. I'm not trying to be cute here when I say this, but if you want that real American Chinese food flavor, you're probably not gonna get it from fresh oil in a wok. You're gonna get it from a deep fryer, because imagine being an immigrant, opening a Chinese restaurant in America and trying to teach your American fellows how to use a wok. A deep fryer is a much more probably traditional way to go. 你喜欢那种美式的酸甜口的炸溜肉条吗？咕噜肉是吧？ See, over there is my colleague and partner, Mako, or our general mom. People have general managers, we have a general mom. And she has this amazing ability to have a pixelated face. She actually really likes American style咕噜肉. The reason that every now and again a Chinese person likes eating shit like this is because it's fucking hilarious. It's a really funny dish. We know it's not real Chinese food, but it's still really funny. You have fried chunks of beautiful brown meat now. This is gonna come together quite quickly. So get a nice generous spoonful of fat. Into your wok it goes. A bunch of your rehydrated, dehydrated garlic. Into your wok it goes. Now in here we have some pineapple, some colored bell peppers as your decoration, so it can feel like you're eating something other than just pure garbage. And then in here goes your ketchup sauce, let down with a little bit of water. Yes, sweet and sour pork.
You mean panda? Panda Express.
Oh, you're talking about Panda Express? Oh, I don't know. I don't hang out with those kinds of white people. Yeah, I don't spend time with those kinds of white people. They don't like me. White people who eat Panda Express don't hang out with Chinese people who happen to speak English but still think like Chinese people. I'm sure people in our audience have had this conversation. Hey, so like, where are you from, bro? Oh, from China. Okay, but like, where are you from? China. Where in China? Shenyang. Okay, but so why is your English? Why is my English what? But your English is good. Why do you speak like that? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know that we couldn't talk good where I'm from. Like, you can't be Chinese and smart. You have to be white to sound like this. Does that make sense? It's a very Western mentality that people can't be just intelligent or good at languages. They have to be from where they're from to sound like them. So yeah, I don't hang out with white people like that. They eat Panda Express. In the sauce goes the pork. Add a little bit of cornstarch slurry, slur it around, and you now have this dish. Oh. Today we have discussed an untraditional version of a traditional dish that I grew up with, and a very traditional version of an untraditional dish that I didn't grow up with. This, I can guarantee you, is gonna taste really funny. I'll show you what I mean. Blah. Does it taste like someone's mom, first time vacationing in America, looking for a Chinese restaurant? Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next week. Take care. 开饭喽. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Oh my god, guys, I just realized I have traditional serving implements. I forgot we have to 保持良好中餐美餐传统. And for some reason, it's always like packed really hard, right? And then, yeah, like perfectly flat, like that. Good. And then they just carpet bomb. Just carpet bomb the dish with cheesy sauce things. And this would be like $6.99, right? And then if you add another meat, because that's how they make food in North America. 和喂猪没啥两样的. It's like feeding the pigs. Like you want one meat or two meat and rice bowl for $8.99. And here you go. Yeah, look at that. That's traditional American Chinese food right there.